Quinyon is damn right. Holy goodness, holy gracious. Howie Roseman is cooking. My favorite quote of the week so far, guys. Welcome to Sippin' Sports. My name is Dalton, joined by your fantastic co-host, KJ McCoy. Chaos Chris, not with us today. But the best quote for me of the week, KJ, was Howie Roseman talking about not doing shit, staying at pick 22, making a great pick, bringing Quinyon Mitchell home to Philadelphia. And what he said, I believe, was, it's not in my nature to do. I love that. Good job, Howie. A+ for me. You stay put. You picked the right guy. Like I said, welcome to another episode of Sippin' Sports. KJ and I got a ton to break down for you guys between the draft, the Sixers tonight, the Phillies. How you doing today, KJ?
Pretty good. I'm doing well. Sixers are tomorrow, Dalt. Tomorrow, unfortunately. I wish they were
Oh, they
tonight.
are?
They're tomorrow, yeah. They are tomorrow.
Shit. Well, there you go. Fucking
I know.
NBA
So
playing with my emotion.
Don't make a bet on Embiid yet. So don't make any bets on anybody yet. So make it tomorrow. But I'm doing well. And yeah, as you said before, let's get down to business with Howie Roseman. I mean, dude, he is going insane. Yeah, he's been doing some surprising picks. I was pretty sure that he was going to trade up in the draft. I thought he was most certainly going to do it, but he actually did not. As you said before, that's not like him. I mean, to actually stay put and stay
Not
with
in
the
my nature.
it's not in my nature. So, yeah, for him, it was very interesting and surprising. But you know what? I think Quinyon Mitchell is a great player. I know that Chris was not happy with the pick. Maybe he'll talk about it next week. I was kind of intrigued to hear his perspective on it. But me and Dalt are very happy with Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's a great pick. He's got a lot of versatility. He is a little on the smaller side for a corner, but you know what though? His speed matches up though. It really does. So I'm excited to see how he can transition. I mean, he comes from a small school at Toledo, and that's where I think people who do not like the pick kind of are like, okay, that's why I don't like the pick, is because he went to a small school. But you can't really judge him off a small school. I mean, he was. I mean, we'll get more into it. I'll just yeah.
We'll get more into it. Don't worry.
We'll
But
get more into
I love the introduction though, because you and I are ecstatic about it. We will say this for the people that are here and I heard it on a poll on WIP yesterday too, and our podcast correlates with it as well. I would say about 2/3 of people in Philadelphia are very, very happy with the Quinyon Mitchell pick. Now it's probably, I would say, 3 out of 4 people. That night before, there were still people that were saying, and I was one of them in the back of my head, what if we got Cooper DeJean? That kills 3 birds with 1 stone. The dude is a safety, a corner, a punt returner. You're getting 3 roster spots out of 1 guy, and the dude is super talented too. Not to mention, Howie Roseman goes out and gets him the second day. He brings him in. Absolutely fantastic masterclass work by Howie, just doing what he does. I will say, too, I'm liking Mitchell. The more I learn about Mitchell, the more film I watch on Mitchell. And we'll get to it later. But the thing I'll say to keep you guys hooked in is we're going to talk about it a little bit later. But if you look at the spider graphic, like they do in FIFA or whatever, like the hexagon where you fill it out and, you know, certain parts. If you look at Quinyon Mitchell, he pretty much has a full hexagon. It is pretty much fully every character that you could ask for in a cornerback, he delivers. It's just height, like you said, or size. But we have a player like that, Devontae Smith, and that's turned out pretty well. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think now that they have DeJean too, Howie understands, like, okay, this is my investment in the secondary for the next couple of years. Like, DeJean can go both ways. I think he'll be a safety eventually. But we'll get to all this, guys. I know KJ and I are very excited, especially me. I'm a huge Eagles guy. I know KJ is a huge Eagles guy. But let's talk about our Phillies. Last night, a big win against the Padres. I know Shard broke out this video. I'll give it a play real quick for you.
Philly going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Padres.
Ugh.
It's funny you show that because I don't know if you remember,
I was
Dalton.
gonna say you're right.
Made a rendition, which actually it's kind of funny that you bring that up. I thought I deleted on TikTok, but apparently some baseball Instagram reposted it and it's still around, which is crazy.
Oh, so it's gonna be around forever then.
So it's still around because Chris is like, delete that, get it out of existence. It was horrible. But it's still around. So I mean, it was pretty funny. It was a pretty funny response for sure. I mean, I was just trying to go back at them, but yeah, it was horrible when they did that yellow and brown. That's what's in. Like, shut up, bunch of tools over there. Seriously. But yeah, no, the Phils are red hot right now. They're looking really good. The pitching's looking great. I keep on hearing that Taiwan Walker is apparently going to be making a start soon. Don't know when that's going to happen. But Turnbull's doing great. So, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The bats were alive. I mean, Bryce hit another homer, hit another Bryce bomb for his new child that was just born. So, pretty cool. I mean, hey, baby bombs.
Baby bombs. I mean, as a dad, you want to set that example for your children. You want to show them how to be a father, how to provide for your children, how to go out and get that new contract. He hasn't gotten that new contract that he was asking for a little bit ago, right?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
But
Not yet.
I think it'll happen.
I think he'll get it, especially if he keeps playing like the way he's playing. He'll get it. He will definitely get it.
Of course. But
That's
yeah, no, it was a great game for sure. It was a great
Oh,
game.
yeah, and that's the thing about Bryce. He does everything right off the field, too. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was a great game for the Phils yesterday. I mean, they totally smacked the crap out of the Padres, and hopefully, I mean, I think they play again today. Hopefully, they can get the dub today, and then I don't know if it's a 4-game or 3-game series, but it would be nice to beat the Padres. And I know the Padres. I mean, they lost Juan Soto last year. They still have Tatis. But yeah, I mean, the Padres have kind of they fell off last year, but we'll see what they do this year. So I think it should be a good matchup. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I think so, too. A good start last night. Sorry. Good morning, Shard. What's going on? Sorry, I'm just trying to read a story. It looks like Eagles fan passed away. I got to figure out their names so that we can honor them. I don't want to mispronounce it, and I got to read this story because the thing is that confused me. You got to love CBS 3. It scared me for a second. I thought that this gentleman's name was Sean, and I don't think that he passed.
Oh, he passed away. Oh, God.
No. It says rest in peace, Ricky Figueroa. So I got to figure out who Ricky Figueroa. Oh, wait. Is that Ricky? I hope that's him because if that's not him, that would confuse me. I don't know if this is people tributing, but he was young, really, really young. I really hope that this is not true.
If that is him, I think that's the guy that we were talking about. That
there's not many people that face paint.
Well, people get confused with Philly Sports Guy. They try and say that that's Philly Sports Guy and that's not him.
I don't know. I got to figure it out, and I got to read this after the podcast because this is insane. Anybody that tributes our team and paints up like that, we got to honor them. So we'll figure out something. What's going on, Sam? Not the best news to start out our morning. We want to see. But let's talk a little bit about something more positive, more upbeat. Howie Roseman goes out. He found his guy. The Eagles bring in Quinyon Mitchell and flipping it to another face-painted guy. I did want to talk about Jamie for a second. Yeah. Jamie really did a good job welcoming Quinyon Mitchell into Philadelphia. The Philly Sports Guy gave this guy an A1 welcome into what it's like being a Philadelphia Eagle. That Go Birds chant, the way he got excited, I loved it. It was like, you could see, like, at first, Quinyon was like, okay, like he was a little bit, I wouldn't say shy. I would just say like more formal, like professional. Like he's like, okay, it's the NFL draft. I don't know if I want to scream. And at the end of it, Jamie's going crazy. And he's like, okay, if the Philly Sports Guy's going nuts, I'm an Eagle. Let's go. And he's like, and he's like screaming at the end of the video. And he has this, my favorite part about the whole video is the smile on his face. You see him light up. You see Jamie light up. And Jamie is just an absolutely fantastic ambassador for the Philadelphia Eagles. And that got me excited, like as a fan. Like when you see these young players feel what it's like to be a part of this fan base that early, it gets you hyped.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I'm honestly thinking about this. I mean, where is the next draft next year? Because I honestly think, Dolt, like we should make a trip there. I'm dead serious. Like, I want to be a part of
Spring
that.
training or draft, Mac? You got to pick one unless we're full-time employed. I don't know if I have that much vacation time, but
I know that's true. That's true. Honestly,
I would do the draft next year.
I
I'm
would do the
down.
draft.
We got to
Honestly,
change it up. Life is short. You can't do the same thing every year. We'll go to spring training again.
I would change it up. So you know what? We did spring training. That was great. And we'll do it again for sure. But honestly, I would love to go to the draft. I mean, I don't know where it is next year. I think it maybe might be West Coast. I don't know. But we'll figure it out. If anybody knows, put in the comments down below. But yeah, no, that was really cool to see PSG interact with Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, to be honest, at first when Quinyon got drafted, he didn't have too much emotion. He wasn't getting emotional. He didn't seem like he was really smiling or really like happy. So I was confused. I was kind of getting like the Steve Francis when he got drafted from the with the Vancouver Grizzlies kind of vibe, like where he was like biting his lip and he didn't want to be there. I was like, holy crap, is this guy just not wanting to come to Philly? But then I realized he's just a quiet dude, kind of reserved. And PSG, out of all people, is able to get him out of that shell and just make him feel welcomed at home, away from home in Detroit. So that was really cool. I mean, our friend Jamie, PSG, good friend of ours for sure. And just to see him be a positive factor there for the Eagles fans is just it's really cool. It was super cool to see that video once again because he did the same thing with Jalen Carter last year, and that was awesome. But back-to-back years, I mean, hey, that's an honor. That is a true honor. So welcome to Philly, Quinyon.
Yeah, welcome to Philly for sure. I mean, this guy is going to absolutely tear it up here. He is everything that the Eagles wanted in a corner. So I get why they took him with their first round pick. Anybody that was saying it should have been DeJean, how he knew what he was doing there. I wanted DeJean too. I told you guys why. The three birds with one stone.
We got him later. So it's
And
like
we
the
got
same
him later. It all worked out.
people who wanted N'Kobe Dean last year in the first round. They're like, we should have gotten N'Kobe Dean first. Yeah, like don't.
I was saying it
We got him
2
later.
months before the draft. I dropped it before, but it all worked out. I would have taken N'Kobe probably the pick before and missed on that. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
overall, I mean, this pick is beautiful. I'm very happy with it. He reminds me very much of I'm drawing a blank on the player. I had a DM up. But moreover, just the way he plays, like there's not much that he can't do. Slay was the player that he said he modeled his game after.
He models his game after Slay, so that's gonna be really cool to see him. I mean, line up with Slay. And I heard as well. I don't know if you heard this. Apparently, he's so talented that he could actually compete for the other corner position, the starting corner position where James Bradbury is.
It's already done. It's already over, in my opinion. I agree with Rube. I think Rube and Frank said it, that it's not even a competition. It's already over. I mean,
Wow.
you gotta start Slay and you gotta start Quinyon, in my opinion. If you
Really?
don't, you're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is like
And I would even take Cooper over him, truthfully. Like KJ, if it was me and I was making this roster right now, cornerback number 1, Darius Slay. Cornerback number 2, Quinyon Mitchell. Cornerback number 3, Cooper DeJean. Cornerback number 4, give me Isaiah Rodgers, that kid out of the Colts, the gambling guy.
Yeah.
Number 5, I'll take Keely Ringo. Let him develop. He wasn't that bad last year. He had a couple good games. Number 6, give me Eli Ricks. Eli Ricks was pretty good.
Yeah.
Number 7, give me my fucking grandma off the street or a fucking cardboard cutout of a fucking cornerback. Give me fucking Howie out there in a fucking helmet. Anybody else? And then last but not least, number 8, give me James fucking Bradbury.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would probably very similar. I don't know if I would put the rookies. I don't know if I would feed them to the wolves yet. I would let them develop a little bit more, because I would probably put Kaylee Ringo before these guys, just because he has 1 year down his belt. Like right now, he has 1 year on his belt, so I think he's got more of a little bit of experience. Isaiah Rogers, I would actually put him maybe at number 2 corner,
Really?
because yes, because I've heard that when he was with the Colts, he was like a top 15 corner. So I think Isaiah Rogers, I know he was obviously suspended for the whole year with the whole incident that happened with gambling and everything like that. But I think he's going to ball out, and I think honestly, if you put him in that number 2 position, he's gonna really strive for greatness, and he's going to do great things for sure. So I think you put him there. I don't know if you really just feed Quinyon yet to the Wolves. I don't know if you do it yet. I think you put Slay, Isaiah Rogers. It would be surprising for the Eagles to have Bradbury back at the number 2 quarter position. It would be surprising because of the effort that he showed last year.
They have so much money tied up in him, though. And the thing about the cornerback is, we know this. It's an injury-prone position. It's not
Yep.
injury-prone players. I'm not saying anybody's injury-prone. I'm just saying it's an injury-prone position. With that being said, it almost makes sense to keep Bradbury for that depth. I mean, he is better than these guys that you're going to find on the street, all jokes aside.
Yeah.
He just has a couple mistakes. If it was up to me, I would move him to safety. And I know I've talked about that with you before. I've talked about that on 302 Birds before. But at this point, try him out at free safety. Free safety is not as physical as strong safety. You can kind of see what he's worth there. He can read more plays. He can get more separation. He can back up off the ball and let things develop more and use that experience, use that game IQ. I actually really think James Bradbury could be a decent safety if used correctly. A free safety, not a strong safety. Nobody like Troy Polamalu, Brian
Yeah.
Dawkins. He's not going to be knocking the ball
No.
out. I mean
No.
more like a
Players-
coverage safety, like a guy that could get picks, read plays, because he's definitely at that point where cornerback is not working out anymore, unless you're going to be running zone defense. So yeah, if it's up to me, I would say James Bradbury needs to be converted to safety. And at that point, like, there's no other option. You guys can't cut him. And at this point, he kind of fills out the rest of your role roster wise if you bring him in, because your safeties now are CJ GJ. I think
Yep.
that DeJean should play safety. They'll probably move DeJean to a safety. He should be on the field getting experience, and safety allows him to. He said yesterday, they asked him, they said, when you get out there, will you mind what position you play? He said, I'm a football player, man. As long as I'm on the field, I'm happy. Oh my God. Perfect answer, Cooper. That's perfect. So if they put him out there at free safety, along with CJ GJ, Slay, and Quinyon Mitchell, all 4 of them on the field at once, and that's our secondary, that's going to be filthy. And then you just keep Bradbury for a backup safety with Reed. I think that's actually not the worst backup safety duo. If the 2 of them are backed up very far, they can read stuff. It's just the one of them can't be responsible for somebody else, and then the other one is zone. Trust me, I know when I say Bradbury and Reed Blankenship, people start to quiver, because last year that was a big pain point, the 2 of them, that combo.
Yeah, we know. We know our buddy from West Virginia was not happy with Reed Blankenship at all. We know that. So
Dennis, shout out to Dennis if he's watching this morning. We appreciate you, brother. Hope all is well. But yeah, Dennis, he calls him. I won't even say it. I'll let him say it if he comes in here. But days 1 and 2, the Wizard is working his magic. KJ, Howie Roseman, yeah, this guy is a freaking god when it comes to the NFL draft. I actually think now, I'm convinced he's probably up there in Bill Belichick level with GMs. Like, as far as coaching goes, like, Bill Belichick's probably known as the greatest coach ever. I don't know how the fuck Howie Roseman is not the greatest GM ever of the modern era. You guys let him get the 2 starting cornerbacks on Nick Saban's all-college team this year. Let me repeat that.
yeah,
These are the 2 starting corners on Nick Saban's all-college football list. That's like taking the two best fucking players in college, and the Eagles have both of them on their team. So for 2024, 2023, hypothetically, we should have the two best cornerback duos. So in 3 to 5 years, we could have the best cornerback duo ever. Now, look, I think Cooper DeJean, like I've said, and I'll stand on this, should be a safety. Cooper DeJean should start out as a free safety, and later in his career, when CJGJ expires off that 3-year deal, that's when, if I was the Philadelphia Eagles, I would potentially look at moving Cooper DeJean to a strong safety spot, because I think he'll develop by then. But if it was up to me, and I put this in the 302 Birds group chat last night, I'm starting Cooper DeJean at free safety, and I'm going to let him play. CJGJ is going to be our strong safety. He's a harder hitter. He also has more experience. A lot of times, strong safety plays in the box. We know that with Malcolm Jenkins. But I was hearing a lot of people compare what Cooper DeJean could do to Malcolm Jenkins coming into college, going from corner to safety. I think he's able to do it. His attitude last night tells you that he's wanting to do it. A lot of times, half the battle in football and in sports is attitude. If a player doesn't have a right attitude, you know, KJ, you're an athlete. It won't work from the get-go. Your attitude is everything. Your attitude is probably more than 90% of it. So the fact that this kid has a good attitude, I think it's pretty good. And who I'm even drawing a blank on, who we have, is Sidney Brown, who should be developed in a couple years as well. I would really, really say put Cooper DeJean at free safety. I think that that's where he'll thrive. He'll be better. Maybe in these first couple of years, if you want to utilize him at corner, go ahead. I'm not going to be mad at it, especially the slot. That's where I think he'll be filthy. But yeah, I mean, absolutely insane that you get Nick Saban's two best secondary players and put them on one team in one draft.
Yeah. I mean, Howie has done like a total 360. I mean, we honestly, as a franchise, we were ready to honestly throw Howie Roseman into a burning volcano when the whole Justin Jefferson, Jalen Rager saga happened. And I didn't think Howie would bounce back, but dude, did he bounce back? And I really think he really started to bounce back when he made that trade in that draft in 2022 for AJ Brown. I think that was where Howie really kind of put his mark and kind of realize and made us realize that, okay, you know what? I screwed up with some picks. I made some bad decisions, but you know what? I'm human and I'm going to make up for it. And God, has he made up for it. I mean, it's been insane to get AJ Brown. Now we just re-signed him to that deal. But as you're saying, I mean, these draft picks. I mean, you get Jalen Carter last year, who's insane. You get some other Georgia players, like we said, Nakobe Dean. And yeah, it's been well, actually the years before, because they were 2 years ago, Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. But I mean, yeah, just the draft picks you got last year were great, and then this year was great as well. I mean, so far it's been great because Cooper DeJean, as you said, was loved by Nick Saban. Quinyon Mitchell was loved by Nick Saban. He wanted them to be part of Alabama, obviously, and they both weren't going to transfer, and that's not like Quinyon was staying in Toledo, and then what's his name? I just blanked on his name. Cooper. Yeah, Cooper was staying with Iowa. But yeah, those guys, hopefully they can really develop and really just strive with this defense. I mean, and in this new defense with Vic Fangio, it should be very interesting to see how he uses these young guys and really see how he can really build their talent. So it should be really interesting. I'm excited, and we'll see what kind of other picks Howie has up his sleeve today in the later rounds. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a lot up his sleeve. I mean, the Eagles could still use a wide receiver 3. The Eagles could still use some O-line help. I think Trotter still on the board?
I believe so. From what I heard from Chris yesterday, apparently Trotter is still on the board. He told me that with Trotter, he's got a big, I guess you could say, shadow behind his back. Obviously, having a dad who was an NFL player, there's a lot of players who are right now in the draft who have dads who are former players. You got Jerry Rice's kid. You have Terrell Owens' kids, who I'd even know was in the draft as well. But then you got Jeremiah Trotter's kid. So that'd be great to see him be an Eagle. But I don't know if they're going to try and go for a linebacker. I mean, I hope they do, but it just seems like right now Howie's like kind of going with some corners. Might go with offensive line. I think that's where he's probably going to go with in these later rounds. Maybe try and get some more depth with the offensive line. That would be interesting. So, you know what? I mean, I would love to get Trotter Jr. That'd be great. But I think some other team is going to maybe just grab him right before we want to just draft him, unfortunately.
I'm worried about that too, but I will say this. He did trade up yesterday to get Cooper DeJean, as
Yeah.
everybody's been saying. I got to give Chris Nady credit. He's probably the first one that had to think of that because he had the bed sheet made. And if you got the bed sheet made, you're painting that shit a couple days prior. Well, I'm just saying, shout out to our boy Nady. Nady Bird, the GOAT. We love you. We appreciate you. The Cooper DeJean caller. That was amazing.
Bed sheets. It's really cool. It's a really cool routine that he has. He always brings bed sheets to the away games and the home games, and it's always really interesting to see what kind of catchphrases he comes up with because he is a genius when it comes to it, for sure.
Oh my God, he is a legend. Shout out to Nady Bird.
And it's funny, if you guys don't know who we're talking about the guy who people say right away, and it was kind of funny, Birdman, our buddy Birdman, was saying at the at 302 Birds event that we were at for the Eagles autism event that Dole hosted, and it was great. Had a great time there.
Thank you.
But it was funny because he said, "Yo, Minshew." That's what he's known as. I mean, like when I first saw him and met him at the
little boy.
Well, yeah, at the what's up? Becoming a little boy?
No, I said just call him Lil Boy because that's Minshew's new nickname. He loves that Max Crosby, little ass boy. That was it, little ass boy.
Yeah, yep. So it was funny though because Birdman was like, he was like, "Yo, Minshew," and it was funny because like when I met Nady for the first time, Chris Nady, I saw him and I said, "Yo, Minshew, I'm with Minshew," and he didn't mind it at all because he's a super cool dude, but he's really dressed up as Jim McMahon. That's the guy that he tributes as. He has a number 9 on his jersey, not a number 10 of Gardner Minshew, who plays for the Raiders now. So, but yeah, I mean it's gonna be interesting though. It's gonna be an interesting season.
3 birds, 1 stone, baby. I said it before. I'm a big value guy. I love getting guys later than they're worth, because you get to experiment with them. Howie really has a project now of somebody that not much risk associated with this, very much reward for where they got him. This isn't like wasting. Well, I don't even want to say wasting. Using a 22 round pick on a guy that you don't know what could happen with him. I always think of who is the guy out of Michigan, not Brandon Graham, of course. The really bad draft pick that we had, the edge rusher, about 10 years back. Drawing a blank on the name.
Oh man. From Michigan?
Yeah.
He's from. Are you sure he was from Michigan? Because I'm thinking of. You're not thinking Marcus Smith, are you?
That is. Where did he go?
He did not go to Michigan. He went to Louisville.
Sorry. Louisville.
Yeah, right.
Marcus Smith.
Yeah. I thought of a bet. Well, it's funny that you said
Eric Barnett was, I would say, hit or miss. Huh?
It's funny you said Michigan because I was thinking right away, I was like, wait, who else could it be? But then you said bad defensive tackle or defensive end. And I thought of right away, I'm like, who's a bad defensive end? Bingo, Marcus Smith. So
that's who I always think of using these picks with. So you really have to be calculated. And when Howie Roseman came out and spoke the next day about why they select, initially I wanted Cooper DeJean, but I'm also not an NFL GM. Yeah. When Howie spoke about it the next day and he said, "Hey, this guy checked the most boxes for us. We felt like we got the most value for him where he was. He was a better player than where he should have been at 22. That's what I'm trying to say. Point being, I think Eagles get a really, really good player. Then later in the draft, same thing kind of happens. A great player drops way further than he should. Howie Roseman, a heat-seeking missile, trades up and goes, "Oh, I can get 3 birds, with one stone. And this is why I love Howie. Not only does he get the great value of Cooper DeJean, he gets the great value of, I have 3 positions now with one player. If I get an injured corner or an injured safety, guess what? He can be there, and he only takes up 1 roster spot. Guess what he can also do? The dude is a freak athlete. If you haven't seen his basketball tape, go check it out. He can ball almost like McCoy over here. The two of them are going to be in West Philly this summer, just crossing people up. White men can jump. Point being,
I'll be throwing him oops. It'll be awesome. It'll be
all,
awesome.
all jokes aside, the dude's an athlete, and you got to appreciate that. And I really think, like, he's a generational player. And if you would have passed on him, it's going to be one of those picks that the Eagles kicked themselves for years about. So it's almost like Howie Roseman looks at these 2 picks. And there's a lot of people out there who I've seen on Twitter and in the draft world who go, oh my God, Howie Roseman, look at dipshit. He drafts 2 defensive tackles back to back. Now he's drafting 2 cornerbacks back to back. What is this guy doing? Just pick a linebacker and a safety. Hold on for a second. Cooper is a safety, number 1. Number 2, he knows that he's going to hit. He's going to hit big on one of those 2 defensive tackles, and he's going to hit big on one of these 2 corners, if not both. If not 3 of the 4 players, I bet you, out of Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, and Quinyon Mitchell, I am willing to say it now. I would bet that 3 out of those 4 guys will be a Pro Bowler in 4 to 5 years for the Eagles. 3 out of the 5. I don't know which 3 out of the 5. I could probably take an educated guess. I won't. Point being, I think that the Eagles really have a good core with that. And now that these players are starting to go, like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham next year, he's having his final swan song. I'm going to cry even thinking about it. Jason Kelsey now gone. Now that our older core is starting to leave, you need to establish your younger core, especially defensively. We have a great young core offensively. Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley now. Offensive line could use a little bit of work, but, skill position-wise, wide receiver, like, you're great on that end. I like that they're investing in core positions defensively in blue chip players. You're taking Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, like we said, Nick Saban's freaking top tier players. Beautiful job, Howie. 3 birds, 1 stone. I mean, you gonna give this guy punt returning lessons in West Philly? You gonna be kicking it to him, letting him try to return it on you, getting ready for Sundays, or what?
What, me kick? I mean, I can't really kick, but I mean, I'm not a kicker. You would have to ask my buddy Con. Con could kick for him probably. Con's got the soccer. He used to play soccer, so he could kick the ball. He could punt the ball pretty far. So, I mean, if he wants some lessons, for sure. I'm a pretty good punt returner, just for fun. But I mean, not where I'd probably get lit up in the NFL for sure. I would get lit up. Not like probably. I would get lit up. So that's why I'm not out there, boys. That's why I'm not out there.
It's all good, but seriously, as an athlete, I mean, I know you're a big basketball player, love the sport. When you watch this guy's film, how do you think that some of that athleticism will just translate to the football field too?
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of former basketball players that have been able to transition from basketball to football. I mean, Tony Gonzalez is a guy that comes up as a name. Antonio Gates, Julius Peppers, guys like that. I mean, they played college basketball. All those guys played college basketball, which is crazy. They were in March Madness. I mean, that's crazy to think about. But I mean, another guy you can think about too, maybe DJ Burns plays. I mean, the guy from North Carolina, from NC State might play football because apparently NFL scouts are looking at him, but he doesn't play football. He plays basketball. So yeah, I think you've also seen Cooper DeJean. I've seen highlights of him playing baseball as well, and him running track as well. That was really cool too. So the guy is he is a man of what is it called? A man of jacks or a trade of jacks. I don't know what it is. He's a man of many sports, we'll say.
A jack of all trades. That's what we say about Jack Jordan.
Right.
That's what he said. I'll never forget in one of his job interviews. He goes, "I'm Jack Jordan, a jack of all trades." I said,
"Yep, jack of all trades." Yep.
Anyway, Charles Kane in here asking KJ. I'll let you go ahead and take it first, Charles. We appreciate you for joining the morning show. Please be sure to drop a like on Facebook if you can, my man. Do you think that Howie's going to go out today and get Trotter Jr., KJ? If not, who do you see the Eagles drafting today for our guy Charles?
I hope so, Charles. I really hope so. I really hope they keep the relationship with Jeremiah Trotter Sr. and obviously Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Keeping him at home. I mean, that would be great. But I could see them passing up on him, honestly, and seeing them go for an offensive lineman. And it would be sad, but honestly, I would like to see them get Jeremiah Trotter Jr. But if I could guess, I'm probably gonna say they probably go with another position if Trotter is on the board. I just think that they're gonna try and go with another position because it just seems like Howie kind of isn't really too. I mean, he's not too aggressive when it comes to drafting linebackers. So I mean, when he drafts a linebacker, our eyebrows raise and we're all really freaking happy. But I hope so. I would love to see it happen, but if I had money on it, I'd probably say they probably go with someone else.
I'll say
That's
this, Charles. I'll be your devil's advocate. I'll say yes. I think St. Joe's Prep, a well-known Philadelphia school, very well respected. Marvin Harrison Jr. went there as well. The Eagles have a couple players who went there. They know DeAndre Swift, obviously, and then last year, Zacchaeus Olamide.
Yep.
I think that the Eagles could take a shot on Trotter Jr. I think
Oh,
it makes sense for them. They need a linebacker. I think if they need to trade up to get him. If they get Trotter Jr., this is a
yeah,
win draft. They get a insanely athletic edge defender
yeah.
in Jalix Hunt. I mean, when you hear his story and what he's done going from cornerback to edge, what? Like
That's
you hear
great.
that at first and you're like, wait, like that's two different body types, man. That's usually like a skinny guy that can run like a 4.3 nowadays, a 4.4. And then an edge rusher, you got to be able to bench like at least like 325, 350 for a couple of reps. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to beat somebody off the edge like some of these big
Yeah.
offensive linemen. So when you hear
Oh,
Jalen
yeah,
Hunt's story, it's insane. And at
yeah,
first, a lot of people are like, "What is Houston Christian football? Like, where is that?" Like, he's the first player to get drafted out of his school. It doesn't matter if you watch the tape on this guy. Vic Fangio apparently was a big fan. This is going to be another project for him. This is going to be a guy that can drop back in coverage when needed too, because of his experience. Like if you look at some of his pick sixes in the tape, Jalix Hunt is going to be a sneaky, sneaky pick. And I know that there's a lot of Eagles fans. And Charles, I get it. You might be upset after last night. The Eagles didn't bring in Trotter. You feel that they should have. I almost felt that way until I watched the tape on Jalix Hunt. And I went, oh my God, this guy's going to be a
yeah,
stud.
yeah.
He's going to be a stud on another team and not on our team. So I'd rather him be here than in Dallas or New York or Washington.
We're
And
glad to have.
last but not least, we shot him a DM. I said,
Yeah,
welcome to Philly. I'm trying to book him for a podcast appearance. And he said he's very excited to be here. He's really glad that we got him. And he loves that we tuned into his story. Fly, Eagles, fly in capital
yeah,
letters. So my favorite part about this whole draft is
yeah,
everybody, even the cornfield guy, is excited about being a Philadelphia Eagle. Cooper DeJean, even from out in the cornfields, is happy to be here. Everybody's happy to be an Eagle. And I think that that just speaks volumes about
yeah,
this team that Howie has built.
for sure. And I was gonna say this too, Dol. It kind of reminds me of the situation, which I just heard about last year. Jalen Carter was actually originally at Georgia a tight end, and he transitioned to a what is he now? He's a defensive tackle. So
Yeah.
now he's a defensive tackle. So players can switch positions. And I mean, they play position first and then it doesn't work out for them and they strive at the other position. I mean, Jalen Carter's a complete beast. So maybe this means that Jalen Hunks is going to be a beast for the Birds.
I think that, like I said, I'm willing to take that bet to the house. If you told me 3 to 4 years, take Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis, 3 out of the 4, if not 4 out of the 4, I'm willing to bet will be a Pro Bowler. So the Eagles
Yep.
have a very, very good young core. And the thing I love about it is these players are scattered between 3 drafts. So, I mean, for the next 3 to 4 years, you have a lot of flexibility to pay players like Devontae Smith, like AJ Brown. Jalen Hurts obviously should be here a long time. That's your centerpiece on the offense. But it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. How about for our Sixers tonight, KJ? Transitioning to our last topic, Game 4, man.
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Sorry. I keep getting
Tomorrow.
excited because
You're
I
good.
guess was the other game Thursday night.
Yeah.
I keep thinking one night in between.
It should be tonight. It should. I don't know why they're playing it tomorrow, but they are. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, we all just heard about the news about Embiid, and I mean, prayers up to Embiid. But playing through this Bell's palsy, Bell palsy's what is it, illness that he
Bell's
has?
palsy, you got it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, but obviously it's why his eyes have been reacting like they have been in these certain games. He got poked in the eye game 1, so that didn't help. And then you could see obviously in game 2 when that big injury happened, where he came back in the game in the second half, which we all like our hearts dropped and we were like, okay, the playoffs is over because Joel's done. It's not going to happen. He's not coming back. And he came out of nowhere like freaking Superman. And even with the Bell's palsy, he freaking came out and balled out, even though we lost that game. But game 3, all the Knicks fans came down the freaking highway. They tried to take over the arena. I got to say this, Dalt. Shame on the Sixers season ticket holder members. Shame on them for selling the tickets to Knicks fans. But you know what, though? Joel Embiid shut those Knicks fans up. He shut them up. They can keep on making fun of the disease that he has with his eyes, the Bell's palsy. It's not funny to make fun of it, but they keep on making. What's this? Oh,
I had it in college.
Really?
I got it after having mono. So look at my face. Look at how fucked up I look.
Really? Wow.
See how that's me full smiling like this. If I try it like this, ready?
Yeah.
See how my lip goes like that normally, Lau? I was doing that same motion with my muscle, with my face, and I could not control that the whole right side of my face would not go up. It was insane. It was wild.
Oh, I thought it was just an awkward smile that you were just doing.
No, I had Bell's palsy in college. I got it after having mono. So I'm not here to rat anybody out or say anything. No, I'm kidding. Point being, you're right, dude. Like playing through that is an athletic feat.
Scoring 50 points and doing that. And I mean, to be honest, and I know there's going to be some comments. I know JJ is going to be watching this again and being like, well, KJ, you know what happened? Joel Embiid's a dirty player. He should have got kicked out of the game. Here's the thing, JJ. Yes, Joel Embiid should have been kicked out of the game. I got to be honest. As a Sixers fan, that was dirty what he did to Mitchell Robinson. That was unnecessary. And I was mad at Joel Embiid. I was pissed. I was like, dude, you're acting like a child with that play. Trying to pull down a guy who just got injured, Mitchell Robinson, by his ankles. I mean, what are you doing? So that was a stupid, ignorant mistake by Joel. And I don't agree with it at all. I mean, his decision making. That was not good. And I hope he doesn't do anything like that ever again. But at the same time, though, it's a playoff game. And that's why I don't think they actually gave him the boot. And that's why he stayed out there. And, dude, he took that and he ran with that ball, man. I mean, obviously didn't run with it. You can't run with the basketball. It's travel. But you know what I mean. He went off, scored 50 points. The Sixers looked great. I mean, they were actually using the bench, which was great to see. Cameron Payne stepped up, which a guy who we wanted to play in game 2, and Nick Nurse didn't give him the chance, but they gave him the shot in game 3, and he balled out. I think he had at least 3 threes, and he had a floater that was goaltended by Bogan Bogdanovic. So that was goaltended by him, but he had a great, stellar game. Tyrese did great as well. Some great savage steals that he had. He slammed a couple of them. It was pretty cool because Iverson was watching. He was right in the first row, and Carmelo Anthony for the Knicks, he was on the he was courtside. So it was kind of funny seeing Iverson right there watching Tyrese get those 2 steals. And that dunk that he did was very similar to what Iverson used to do back in 01, where Iverson wasn't as, I guess you could say, sneaky athletic as he was when he was younger, like 1996, 1997, where he was dunking over people, but where he would get a fast break and he would just do a simple 2-hand, 1-hand slam. And that's what Tyrese was doing. And I love Tyrese's speed. He was showing it. And the Sixers, they balled out. But now it's time, though, to tie this series up tomorrow at 1 o'clock and take it back to MSG, where you're going to get a lot of Knicks fans really hostile. It's going to be a hostile environment at MSG. You're going to get a lot of booing.
Embiid, you piece of
F you, Embiid. You suck.
dirty player. Yeah,
Dirty
exactly.
player, this, that. They're going to have signs making fun of his Bell palsy. They will. They're going to do that.
they're
They're
gonna
going to
do
have
some
shirts. I already
fucked up
saw
shit
they
like
made
we would.
shirts. Did you see that they made shirts saying F Philly and a picture of Joel Embiid, one of his eyes like discombobulated, and the other one just like perfectly normal. So that's what's screwed up. It's funny that we get the heat as Philadelphia fans because New York fans do even crazier things than we do. Burning jerseys that aren't theirs and whatever and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy, but I'm so pumped for this game 4. I think honestly they are going to come out with a bang and they are going to take they're going to take this series. I really do think they're going to come back and win this series. Like Joel said, I thought he was crazy for saying that. He was looking down low and he was like, "We're going to we're going to win the next games. We're going to win 2 more games and tie the series up. I just know it." And I'm just like, I think he's crazy for doing that. And I'm just
with
like,
him
dude,
too. I'm with you both.
and I'm just like, wait, even though you can't see it in his eyes, I can just see it like I can see like just like a vision right now that he's like going out there like a freaking lion and he's just gonna rip someone's head off. Obviously not actually physically. We don't want him to really
Mitchell
do that.
Robinson's. No, I'm kidding.
No, not Mitchell Robinson. No, and I hope Mitchell Robinson's okay. Because
Yeah,
I don't
seriously. As fans, I want
agree.
to emphasize what you said. That was a
Yeah.
dirty play.
Horrible. It was horrible and not needed in a basketball game. And I know Embiid was trying to say that if they want to get dirty, I'll get dirty as well. And I was like, okay, well, but just don't do that then. You know,
Yeah,
like
don't
get
do
dirty
that
on the
shit.
basketball court and get dirty with a dunk. But just when you dunk it, please don't do anything with your knee. Maybe just do just an easy 2-hand slam. You know what? Not too much authority. Just keep it basic. Good fundamentals. So that'd be great. But I think it's going to be an exciting game. I cannot wait for tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, not tonight. Dumbass Dalton 10 minutes ago.
Not tomorrow
Tomorrow
night
night.
either. Tomorrow day, 1 o'clock.
Tomorrow day. There you go. Even then. What time tomorrow?
I think 1 o'clock. I'm pretty sure someone told me 1 o'clock. I
I
could
don't
be
like
wrong.
Sunday 1 o'clock games usually, but hopefully I'm wrong.
Hey, you should be used to it for the Eagles games. They're always at 1 o'clock.
Sixers 1 o'clock games, I'm saying. It's a different
Ah.
fall. Fall, it's a little bit different. I don't know. In the spring, I get the Sunday scaries a little bit more.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
that's all right. We all get
What
scared.
were you saying right before? You had me thinking about something I wanted to say before Embiid. Before the Mitchell Robinson. Oh, I think you're right. I think he is dead ass right. They're gonna probably find a way to win this series. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if they did. They're a better team than the Knicks when Embiid is fully healthy. And from what we've seen, it seems like maybe he's not fully healthy, but he's like 90% there. He's almost back. I think Embiid personally has investment in this series now. I think he doesn't like the Knicks. I think he's ticked off. He wants to win it. I think he's frustrated. I think you're going to see some of that frustration come out. And as a result, I think you're going to see Embiid say, fuck it. I'm going to go Embiid mode. I'm going to run the show. Him and Maxey. That's what needs to happen. These two need to take over right now and show these freaking Knicks fans why they are wiling out, why they are crazy, delusional, New Yorkers.
New Yorkers. But I was going to ask you this too. Since you went to high school with this guy, Dante DiVincenzo, what'd you think about when the Mitchell Robinson play happened and Dante did defend his teammate, but then he was like, don't do that. And Embiid was like, what you gonna do about it?
So
He's
I'll
like,
say
what
this.
you
I
ask?
love that you brought
What you
that up.
ask gonna do about
I did go to high school with Dante. I didn't know Dante. Dante passed by me many times in the hallway. I think one time I dropped the pencil. Dante picked it up and handed it to me, and I was like, holy shit, will you autograph like my hand or something? No, I'm kidding. Point being, he was a super nice guy in high school. Always like the most humble dude ever. Like super respected. Like I was a freshman at the time. I think he was a junior, fresh off of a state championship. This might have been, I think it was. No, it was my sophomore year. I'm sorry. dude just hands me a pen and he's like, here you go. Super nice. Like, a lot of people would just keep going on with their day. You know what I mean? They got, especially like athletes like that, they got better things to do, bigger fish to fry. So I always respected and liked Dante for that. And he was always pretty funny too. As a player, I love him. I love that he stood up for his teammate. As a Sixers fan, it was a little tough to watch because, like, I of course root for my team and Embiid. I see Embiid getting in his face. I'm like, uh-oh. But then I see Dante, who grew up 40 minutes, south of here in Delaware. He's at home too. He's getting into it. You got the Villanova boys on the Knicks. They're running their mouth. They're getting into it. I'm like just sitting there basically like Michael Jackson with my popcorn, like
it is so weird
just
though.
entertained.
It is so weird, and that's why I ask you because, like, I mean, as you said, you didn't really get to talk to him too much. For me, even as a Georgetown Hoyas fan, I went to the Villanova basketball camp, and Dante. This is a true story. I know people aren't going to believe me, but Dante DiVincenzo was my basketball coach for the camp. Swear to God, he was our
You
coach.
probably knew him better than me. Dead ass.
Yeah, I did because it was funny because when I went to the camp, I went with my brother. Shout out to Mason. Mason will tell you, and he will vouch for me. He was our coach. Swear to God. And we would always tell him, hey, like we saw this kid. It was a redheaded kid. And we heard they were like, oh, he's the Michael Jordan of Delaware. And I'm like, no, there's no way. And then I see highlights of this kid. I'm like, oh my God. And I see these crazy dunks. And the funny thing is, true story, we would try and ask him because I was probably the oldest kid on the team that we had at the camp, so it was kind of funny. I actually played. It was funny. I played center on that team, which is funny because I was maybe 5'4", and I was the center on that team, which was funny. But we would always joke around and we'd say, "Yo, Dante, can you dunk for us? Can you do a dunk?" He finally did a dunk for us. It was like a windmill dunk, and I was like, "Dude, this kid." If he doesn't go to the NBA, he's gonna light it up in Europe or something. But dude, is he lighting it up in the NBA? Yeah, for sure. And I do as a basketball player. I mean, when one of my teammates is in something and something happened where another player from another team kind of took advantage of them, and I mean they came at them and they did something unnecessary. I don't blame Dante for going at Joel like that, and just shows like, dude, I'm not afraid of you. I mean, like you might think you're this bully and whatever. And I kind of do, even though he's a Nick, I do salute him for having Mitchell Robinson's back. I do salute him for that.
As an athlete, as a teammate.
Because as an athlete, it was so unnecessary for that to happen. That play, it just should have never happened. Because now you have Knicks fans, they're gonna do what they did with Trae Young. They're gonna literally take this ball and they're gonna run with it. And now you're feeding them. You are feeding them something crazy. So that's what Embiid's doing. And maybe that's what Embiid needs and wants. He wants that motivation. He wants he wants a shadow behind his back, the shadow of New York City. JJ Segalo screaming in his ear, hey, screw you, Embiid. You know what? You're getting cold for Christmas. And so, I mean, that's what Embiid wants, I think. And I think he's going to have vengeance. This team is going to have vengeance, and I'm pumped for tomorrow.
I'm excited for tomorrow too. I hope they get the job done because if this series goes to 2-2, the Sixers are winning it. Mark my words.
Yeah.
If this series goes to 2-2,
the
Sixers are going to win it, I think.
I think so. I think they're going to take this series. But the Knicks are a great team, though. They're a great team. Very scrappy.
They're the 2 seed, technically, too.
They're the 2 seed. They had a great regular season, and also they lost their star player, Julius Randle, who was kind of, I would really say Jalen Brunson's their star player, but Julius Randle, though, I think was the main guy during the season to really lead that team. But yeah, he's out he's not going to be making an appearance in the playoffs. And yeah, New York's giving us a run for our money, though. I'll tell you that.
Damn Skippy. Damn Skippy. Well, hey, guys, that's all we got for you. As much as KJ and I could sit here all day, one day, if you guys like and heart the show, comment on it. Maybe one day KJ and I could sit here for 3 hours straight and get paid to do it, like the Pat McAfee show, and talk sports with you guys. I know that's our goal. We could do it all day. We love it.
We would love to.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you guys haven't. Go follow KJ on TikTok and Instagram at official KJ McCoy. Please follow us at 302 Birds, as well as our podcast on Instagram at Sippin' Sports. We have a ton of awesome Philly sports graphics, content, engaging stuff on there. But other than that, God bless. Go Birds. That's all I got. KJ, you got anything else to say?
Tomorrow. Beat the Knicks. Beat the Knicks. You know what, New York? We're coming. We're coming for you. We're walking here. We're walking here. Let's go.
More.
What's up, JJ? We're coming for you.
Shut up, KJ. I'm the top.
I am the top.